Family is Providence. Thanks for tuning in. We have been put on notice. The date has been set. The game is in disarray. Iceman will be dropping May 15th. The Iceman is coming, ladies and gentlemen. And the anticipation, you can feel it in the air. Hip hop is ready for this album. I personally think it is Drake's most anticipated album. Even the haters are lining up ready to listen to this album. They may not admit it, but they'll be tweeting and hating on the album when it drops, but it'll be playing in the background as they're sending out their hate tweets and their hate posts on social media. They'll be bumping the album in the background. We're all waiting for it. We're all excited for it. And Drake has a chance to change the narrative and to have the culture realize they should have never turned on the boy. We need the boy because he's the only thing really keeping this alive. Now, this was a great rollout for Drake, the most creative I recall him ever being in a rollout, between the Iceman episodes and then hiding the release date in the ice for the fans to go have at it and find the date. Just looking at the creativity he exercised during this rollout helps me to anticipate this album even more, because I'm like, man, if he was this creative in a rollout, he must really be in his bag for this album. And I think that the album should show that. It would be ashamed if he was more creative in the rollout than the actual music. So I am expecting great things. May 15th will officially be a little over 2 years since the battle was at its highest point. By this time, Family Matters was released, Not Like Us was released, and it was probably at the lowest point for Drake in the battle. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I think that Drake performed way more admirably than the culture gives him credit for. The culture thought he lost. I thought that he out-rapped Kendrick, but we are in a different space in the culture now. People have been anticipating this album. Things have changed. I believe that the culture has slowly moved back on Drake's side. Not to say that people aren't going to anticipate when Kendrick drops, because supposedly he is dropping, but the culture's been starving for some good music. And I do think that in light of the battle, Drake will still have to prove certain things, and I expect Iceman to do certain things. One, I expect Drake to be confrontational on Iceman. There may be a diss record on here. I'm not sure. I could see him maybe going for a round two, dropping a diss record, going back and forth with Kendrick again. I know that's what the culture wants. Me personally, I don't want that to be the case, because I think that the only way you really keep Kendrick relevant is to continue to battle him and drop diss records. So I think he's doing Kendrick a favor. I think that you allow Kendrick to do astronomical numbers if you enter into a rap battle with him. Not to say that Kendrick won't be relevant without that, but that no doubt battling Drake boosts the person battling Drake. Drake don't need to battle anybody to be who he is, but when you battle Drake, that's when you get your highest numbers. So I think that just helps to inflate Kendrick and his relevance. So I hope he doesn't go that route, but I could see a diss record on here. I know for a fact there will be subliminals. He will be taking shots, couple of one-line jabs here and there, right, at him. I could see a couple of jabs at Jay-Z for allowing Kendrick to perform at the Super Bowl, not allowing Lil Wayne to perform instead. Maybe he feels some type of way about that. I could see a couple of jabs at Jay-Z, a couple of jabs at some content creators, maybe media personalities, like he took a jab at Joe Budden on some Sexy Songs for You. Could be all of that, but Drake's gonna be confrontational. He's gonna be, you gonna hear the disses. I also expect for the rapping to be at a high level. I think that Drake, one of the things he has to show, his pen is still elite, if not the best in the game. So I expect the rapping to be at a high level post this Kendrick battle. He's coming to establish himself really as the greatest rapper ever. And I think that he probably pushed his pen to match the moment where people are doubting whether or not he's the best rapper right now. So I think the bars is going to be out of here. I also think it's very important for him to prove that he can still make hits. Not only does hip hop need hits right now as a genre, but all we heard for the last 2 years is Drake is done, he's finished, he's a cancer to the game, he ain't got the Midas touch like he used to have. So I'm expecting some of the songs on there to be made for the radio. I think one of the challenges that Drake has had, if you really want to call it a challenge, is that he creates music for different things. He's got the pure rap, he's got the R&B cuts, he's got the hits. Some of those hits are rap hits, some of those hits are singing hits, but people come to expect different sounds from Drake, right? He might even have his Afrobeat sound, little Caribbean sound, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Drake is, I think, going to do it all from a sound perspective on this album to please the fans. And there's going to be certain things there where I think he's going to be intentional about proving to the world, I'm still the hit maker. I'm not done. I'm expecting some summer bangers to take us through the summer, and the haters will be silenced. It's also got to answer some questions as well. I believe people want to know about the lawsuit. Why did he file it? I don't know if he has a song specifically addressing that. That'd be kind of weird, like a lawsuit song. But he'll probably got to have a couple lines, maybe explaining why. I want to hear a couple of bars about the lawsuit, to be honest with you, because it's still a confusing thing for a lot of people. Now, it was thrown out, but he's still appealing the decision to the higher courts. So we'll see what happens. Personally, I don't really want him to focus too much on trying to explain himself when it comes to that. I think that the people who are determined to hate on that will still never accept that. It still seems as un-hip hop as it can possibly be. Personally, I do believe that Drake has grounds to sue. I've always supported it. I think that allowing your label to promote songs that accuse you of a hideous crime is a no-go. You know, and I think that it's one thing to agree to a battle, but it's not cool to agree to be lied on. It just is what it is. And so I think Drake was always in the right to do that, but many people disagree. I think I do want to hear some mention of the lawsuit, but I do think that that's an issue that he can't really sway people's minds on. So I don't think he should be trying to convince anybody of anything. And maybe he doesn't want to convince anybody of anything. He just wants to maybe explain it a little bit, or maybe he won't. Maybe he will have pivoted from talking about the lawsuit at all, since the lawsuit's kind of, you know, it's in a dying state right now. I mean, we know that appeals rarely ever get won. I mean, he's got top lawyers on it trying to appeal it. Maybe the lawsuit survives. It probably won't. Personally, it might be best for him to just pivot from the lawsuit altogether and just not mention it at all. But it is something that I think he does have to address at some point. Even if it's not on the album, maybe he talks about it in an interview or whatever the case may be. But I think the fans want some explanation for it. And maybe that'll be on Iceman. So I believe that this album has to put to death any idea that Drake is finished after the perceived loss versus Kendrick. It has to produce Billboard hits, and it has to convict the culture for ever turning their back on Drake and making them, you know, feel as if they didn't need him, which is what I think the culture was at, where they were at. So many people were saying Drake is done, Drake is done, Drake is done. They thought that they were finished with Drake. They didn't need him anymore. Kendrick was going to be the new savior. We've seen Kendrick completely botch his so-called dot era. And so the culture came back to realize they actually do need Drake. And so Iceman has to solidify that into the hearts and minds of the people so that they never turn their back on Drake ever again. Okay? And I get it, when Kendrick is getting ready to drop, people might be put under a trance again, but we've understood what Kendrick is. Kendrick is never going to be the person to continue to feed the culture. He's always going to show up every couple years, drop his projects, but he's not interested in continuing to feed you. Drake is your favorite restaurant. I always make this analogy. Kendrick is the fancy restaurant you go to eat every couple years during a special event. Maybe a graduation, maybe you celebrating your birthday, you know, special event, you go to a fancy restaurant. Drake is your favorite restaurant. You eat there probably once a week. You get fed. The food tastes great. And that's what it is. Drake is going to feed you. And so the culture's at this point right now where they're starving. And this is where I believe Drake has the opportunity to really solidify his legacy. Because once you're starving, that's when you appreciate the food all the more. And I feel like the fans are going to appreciate Iceman even more if it's good. It has to be good, because yeah, there's going to be initial hype, but if it ain't good, it's going to die out. But the hype is real, and so if the food matches, if the music is on point, he's knocking it out of the park, and Drake's legacy once again solidified. And I believe that Iceman will accomplish that. But let me know your thoughts. What are you expecting on Iceman? You think anything that I'm expecting is not going to be there? You got some other things you think that Iceman's going to accomplish, or you think Iceman's going to fail at everything? You a K-Dot fan? Let me know in the comments. It's been Providence. Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.